हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। वेलकम टू स्टडीज विद जॉय। आपका स्वागत है हमारे चैनल पे। और आज का हमारा टॉपिक है 9th स्टैंडर्ड साइंस पार्ट 2, चैप्टर नंबर 18, ऑब्जर्विंग स्पेस टेलीस्कोप्स पार्ट 1. This video is a part 1 of this chapter. We are starting with a new chapter in science 2. And this chapter is very interesting chapter because everyone likes to know about some facts about space, and we are going to learn so many facts in this chapter, and something important facts also that we are going to learn about telescopes. So let's start with our today's topic. If you are new on my channel, then please subscribe my channel and also press the bell icon button so that you get the first notification when we upload a video. In the starting of this chapter, I would like to ask you some questions. Like, first question I will ask you the name of the chapter only. What is observing space? According to you, what is observing space? Tell me in the comment section. And according to me, observing space is observing the heavenly bodies which are very far away from us, so we observe it because we have something, they are very bright, they are a structure, so that's why we observe space. Then a question comes that what is a telescope? According to me, a telescope will be a device which helps us or which gives us a magnified image of the substances or the heavenly objects which are far away from us in the space. Why do we need a telescope for observing space? According to me, that we need a telescope for observing space because a telescope gives us a magnified image of the heavenly objects through the light coming from those objects, so we can see the clear image. Okay, you all tell me the answer that what is observing space, or do you like it, in the comment section. See, this is observing space. A telescope has been kept. Now, in the most of the pictures, you would have seen that the telescopes on hills. In the Google also, you have searched telescopes. Then you will see the pictures of telescopes on the hills only, mostly. Now you will be thinking that why on hills, mountains only these pictures are there. Why no one is doing from his or her home terrace? Actually, in the cities there is very much city lights, because of which there is a problem to catch the lights coming from heavenly bodies. So that's why we use telescopes in mountains only. Remember this point. From early days, man has been curious about the sun as well as the moon and stars seen in the night sky. Using his boundless imagination, he tried to understand the sky as observed by the naked eyes. He noticed that the position of the stars changed with time and had something to do with the occurrence of seasons. So, from the early days, means बहुत पहले से ही man has been curious, means man has been very much eager to know about this sun, about the moon and stars in the night sky. Why are they here? Why can we see those? Why are they are so far? Why are they so small? These all questions were there in the man's mind, and the man's boundless imagination. What I mean by boundless imagination means the imagination which never ends. You also know now, everyone has boundless imaginations, some bad also. And he tried to understand the sky as observed by the naked eyes. So the man started observing the sky by naked eyes, and he observed that the stars are moving or changing their positions with time, and they had something to do with the occurrence of seasons. So according to seasons, their positions are changing. They've observed. The man started observing this. As the knowledge of the cycle of seasons was necessary for agriculture, sky watching began to prove useful to him. So actually, the knowledge of the cycle of seasons was very much necessary. At that time, only agriculture was the occupation. So this knowledge was very necessary to sky watching. This sky watching is related to this knowledge. So therefore, sky watching began to prove useful to him. The position of the constellations was also useful to sea goers for navigation. What I mean by constellations, constellations is a group of stars in the sky, so which is very useful for sea goers फॉर नेविगेशन, वो देखकर वो नेविगेट कर सकते डायरेक्शन को. So that is a different knowledge only. Man began to make determined efforts to find answers to questions which arose out of his sky watching. तो sky watching कर रहे थे ताकि हमें एग्रीकल्चर के लिए we learn the cycle of seasons, उसके लिए वो sky watching करते थे. अब उससे उनके दिमाग में बहुत सारे questions आने लग गए. Why this sun is there? Why these stars are there? Why these stars change their position after some time? Why these all things come? But he did not have any equipment to get a closer view of the stars and planets. At that time, there were no equipments to get a closer view of the stars and planets in the sky. But this curiosity was growing up. Now let's learn something about space in the past. Today, 400 years after Galileo's use of the telescope, tremendous progress has been made in telescope technology. So after 400 years, before 400 years means from today, the before 400 years, Galileo had made the first telescope. Actually, the idea of telescope was made by Hans Lippershey. He made two lenses. Then from that lenses for observing space, Galileo made actually Hans Lippershey made the first telescope, but for observing space, Galileo made the first telescope. Today, 400 years after Galileo's use of the telescope, tremendous progress has been made in telescope technology and in space science and technology on the whole. This great leap in technology has helped to construct for us an outstanding pictures of our universe. So after this so many years, the technology has very much increased, and in this great grab of technology, we have got so many pictures of the universe also, and we are observing space also also we have a equipment for it. Space science and technology are not only important for research purposes but also to help provide us with many of the comforts and facilities we enjoy in our everyday life. Space science and technology is also useful for giving us some comforts, facilities that also we use in our day-to-day life. A telescope is used to observe space, but will one telescope be sufficient for us to observe space completely? Why do we need different telescopes for the purpose? Are telescopes installed even in space? These all questions will be in your mind, and we are going to get the answer to these questions in this chapter and the further part of this chapter that we are going to learn, and I will always explain you with full immense information that I have. The first topic that we are going to learn is different forms of light. Now you will be wondering that there are forms of light also. Yes, there are forms of light that we are going to learn. First, let's see what is light. Light is an electromagnetic wave. So what is light? It is an electromagnetic wave. Very important. Every wave has a characteristic wavelength. Our eyes can see only that light which has wavelengths between 400 nanometer to 800 nanometer. So every wave has a characteristic wavelength, like sound waves and light waves both have wavelengths. Let it be sound wave or a light wave. And our eyes can see the light rays which have the wavelength from 400 nanometer to 800 nanometer only. Such light is called visible radiation. However, there are electromagnetic waves of wavelengths other than the visible ones, most of which we cannot see as our eyes are not sensitive to them. So there are other radiations also. The light rays of the wavelength 400 nanometer to 800 nanometer are called visible radiation because we can see and the eyes can see those. But the other ones which are greater than them or smaller than them we cannot see because they are not sensible to our eyes. Now let's learn about those. Here are the types of radiations that we can say as different forms of light and wavelength of them, so that we can identify that we can see those or not. Now let's read it. First, I will tell you the units that are there in this table. Nm is nanometer. 1 nanometer is equals to 10 raised to minus 9 meter, and pm is picometer, that is 1 picometer is equals to 10 raised to minus 12 meter. Now let's see. First type of radiation is from the last one we will start. Gamma rays. Gamma rays you all be knowing about. So gamma rays are shorter than 3 picometer. Now picometer is shorter than nanometer, na? Okay, remember this. Mm is millimeter, then shorter than millimeter nanometer. From nanometer more shorter is picometer. So gamma rays are even shorter than 3 picometer. X-rays are from 3 picometer to 300 picometer. Their wavelength. Ultraviolet rays, the wavelength is 300 picometer to 400 nanometer. See, we cannot see the ultraviolet rays coming from the sun. Why? Because don't come in the 400 nanometer to 800 nanometer. They don't have that wavelength. They have the wavelength little less than that, 300 picometer to 400 nanometer. Okay, remember this. This can come as a question. Why can't we see the ultraviolet rays? Infrared rays, they are bigger than visible light rays. They are 800 nanometer to 0.3 millimeter. Microwaves 0.3 millimeter to 20 centimeter, and radio waves are longer than about 20 centimeter. See, radio waves are longer than that also, but we cannot see these also because these are bigger than 400 nanometer to 800 nanometer wavelength. Okay, so these are the types of radiation which you must remember because they are very important. Of all the above types, our eyes are only capable of seeing the visible radiation. Thus, we use these visible radiation telescopes, that is optical telescopes made from regular lenses or mirrors to see the visible radiation coming from the space. So, our eyes are only capable of seeing visible radiation. So that is the why we use only the visible radiation telescopes. And which are the visible radiation telescopes? They are optical telescopes which are made from regular lenses or mirrors. We can use lenses also and mirrors also to see the visible radiation coming from the space. So we are using the visible radiation we are seeing. However, many heavenly bodies emit radiations other than the visible light. So they also emit different other radiations other than visible light. Thus, we need different types of telescopes like the X-ray, gamma ray and radio telescopes to receive such radiation and to study their sources. So, those radiations which are rather than visible radiation, we need different types of telescopes like X-ray telescopes, gamma ray telescopes, and most radio telescopes which we use for studying those radiations and for studying their sources. So we have that also. So technology has developed so much. Now let's learn about some types of telescopes. First type of telescope that we are going to learn is optical telescope. Now in this chapter we are going to learn about only optical telescope and radio telescopes. So first in detail we will learn about optical telescopes. Actually optical telescopes are of two types: reflecting telescopes and refracting telescopes, that we are going to learn further in this video. So first let's see what are optical telescopes. Most optical telescopes are made with two or more lenses as shown in figure. So this is the figure you can see. So there are two lenses used in an optical telescope. Remember this. Okay, as shown in the figure, to collect the maximum amount of light coming from a heavenly object, the objective lens should be made as large as possible. So which is the objective lens? Now here you can see the objective lens. The bigger one lens is the objective lens, and we should make it as large as possible to collect maximum light there. Okay, because it collects the light and it passes through the eyepiece. You can see there is an eyepiece here, and it passes through the eyepiece, and we can see from the eyepiece, which gives a magnified image. I hope you understood it. And using the light collected by the objective lens, a smaller lens called the eyepiece produces a large image of the source. That only I explained you now. Light rays change their direction as they enter a lens from the atmosphere, and again when they enter the atmosphere after passing through the lens. So actually the light rays which are coming as they enter the objective lens, they change their direction, and they again change their direction after they pass through the eyepiece. Okay, and when they again go to the atmosphere, they change again their direction after passing through the lens. This is called refraction. So this changing of direction is called refraction, and hence such telescopes are called refracting telescopes. Hence we call these type of telescopes as refracting telescopes. We shall study image information by lenses in the next standard. So these are the images of refracting telescope. Okay, these are refracting telescopes in which there is one bigger objective lens and there is one eyepiece. So in refracting telescopes only two types of lenses are used, or only two lenses are used. More than two can be used, but only lenses are used. There are no mirrors used. And you can see the bigger one is objective lens and the smaller one is eyepiece, from which we get a magnified image and we can see from that point. We cannot see from the objective lens, because objective lens collects the light and it passes through the eyepiece and we get a magnified image of the source. Remember this. Now let's learn something more about refracting telescopes. Even though such a telescope is useful for space observations, it presents certain difficulties. So first, in the first period, we used to use this type of telescopes only when we were making technology, we were developing. Okay, as we saw above, there are some difficulties also of using such telescopes. As we saw above, if we wish to obtain a bright image of a source by collecting the maximum possible light from it, the objective lens must be made as large as possible. So we have read that for collecting maximum light and to get a bright image, we need to make the objective lens as large as possible. But however, it is very difficult to make very large lenses. Also, large lenses are very heavy and tend to get distorted. So large lenses we cannot carry to the mountains. Why we need to carry to the mountains? I explained you in the first only that we use telescopes in the mountains regions only, because in the cities there is very much city lights are there. So that's why it is very difficult to use it there. And if we carry these telescopes with large optical objective lens, then it will be it becomes very heavy, no? So we cannot carry it, and also it tends to get distorted. These are some difficulties. As the objective and eyepiece are placed at the opposite ends of the telescope, the length of the telescope also increases with increase in the size of the lenses, and the telescope becomes difficult to manage. Means if we increase the length of the object or the size of the objective lens, then the eyepiece and the objective lens are on the opposite sides. You only know in the figure only we see here is the eyepiece and here is the objective lens. So they are on opposite sides. So if we increase the size of the objective lens, then we need to increase the between gap of both of them. And if we carry such a lengthy telescope, then it will be very difficult to manage and to see from it. Okay, and the images formed by lenses have errors of colors, because this much big, so big we have made, so sometimes it creates errors of colors, and the color which is coming will be different from it. This is called chromatic aberration. So these were some difficulties while using refracting telescopes. To overcome these difficulties, telescopes are made using concave mirrors. As light rays get reflected by mirrors in these telescopes, they are called reflecting telescopes. Now we are learning about reflecting telescopes, the second type of optical telescopes. Now in refracting telescopes, we used to learn about only lenses. We used to use only lenses, but in reflecting telescope we use also lenses and also mirrors, like concave mirror, convex mirror. In order to get a bright image of a source, large mirrors are necessary so that they can collect a large amount of light from the source. But it is easier to make large mirrors as compared to making large lenses. It is very hard to make large lenses, but it is easier to make large mirrors, and it will be easy to collect maximum amount of light for those large mirrors. Also, big mirrors can be made by combining several smaller pieces of mirrors. The weight of a large mirror is less, because lenses are very heavy, but the weight of a large mirror is less than that of a lens of the same size. The images formed by mirrors do not have errors of colors. Only by using these large telescopes can we see far away stars and galaxies which we could have never seen using our naked eyes. So these are the most recently used telescopes, that are reflecting telescopes. In nowadays also we use reflecting telescopes only. Now we will learn about two types of reflecting telescopes. Now reflecting telescopes are also about two types. What are reflecting telescopes? You know. Okay. So now let's see the types. First, we can say not types also. There are some of the reflecting telescopes. Newtonian telescope. The reflecting telescope are mainly of two types: Newtonian and Cassegrain. That only I told you. As shown in the figure, light rays coming from space are reflected by the concave mirror. So this is the figure. The light rays are coming from space. See, you can see here light source is written in the diagram. So from there the light rays are coming. Now they are reflected by a concave mirror. You can see they are getting reflected in the arrow, with the arrows that is shown. Okay. See, from here the lights are coming and they are getting reflected from this concave mirror which is situated here, and they are going here. Okay, and then they are again reflected by a small plane mirror here, and they go to the eyepiece, and we can see the image or magnified image from here. So this is the way a Newtonian telescope works. Which type of telescope it is? It is a Newtonian telescope. So you should remember this diagram, because this is a very important diagram and it can come for you as a question to draw Newtonian telescope. And also Newtonian telescope consists of which two mirrors? They are the plane, one small plane mirror and a concave mirror. You can say that. Okay, let's read further. So what happens? We have read only. So they are again deflected by a small plane mirror. As a result, they get focused at a point lying on the perpendicular to the axis of the telescope cylinder. So they get focused at a point on the perpendicular of the axis of the telescope cylinder, and they pass through the eyepiece, as I showed you, and we get a magnified image of the source. I hope that you understood what is the working of Newtonian telescope and how it looks. Okay, now let's see the second type of second type of reflecting telescopes. It is Cassegrain telescope. Okay, the construction of a Cassegrain type of telescope is shown in the figure. You can see this is the construction of a Cassegrain type of telescope. I will explain you this. Okay, see what happens is nothing happens, that the light source is here, so the light comes from here, it's coming, and what happens, it gets reflected from this this concave mirror. Okay, are you understanding what I am saying? It reflects from this concave mirror which is here. This is a concave mirror, and it gets reflected and goes here, and here it is a convex mirror which again reflects it, and it passes through this hole, and then here is the eyepiece, and which gives a magnified image. So this way it works. So here the light rays are coming, and here they get deflected by the concave mirror, they get again deflected by the convex mirror, and they pass through this hole from the concave mirror and inside from eyepiece. So in this the concave mirror has a hole, and instead of a plane mirror, in this a small convex mirror has been used. So remember this, what is the construction of the eyepiece of the Cassegrain telescope. Now let's read it. Okay, now let's read it, how it works. The construction of a Cassegrain type of telescope is shown in the figure. The Cassegrain telescope also uses a concave mirror. However, here light rays after reflection from the concave mirror are reflected back towards it by a small convex mirror. As I told you, they pass through a hole at the center of the concave mirror, and then through the eyepiece situated at the back of the hole of the concave mirror. So they are reflected by the concave mirror, they go to the convex mirror, again back to the concave mirror, but this time they don't get reflected, they pass through the hole. The eyepiece gives us a magnified image of the source. I hope that you understood how a Cassegrain telescope works. In India, we have several telescopes with concave mirrors of 2 meter diameter that have been in use for many years. 2 meter diameter is not a big telescope, but the biggest optical telescope in India, having a mirror of 3.6 meter diameter, is situated in the Aryabhat Research Center of Experimental Sciences at Nainital. So this can come as a question. Where is the biggest optical telescope situated in India? This is the largest optical telescope in Asia, in the whole Asia, in the whole Asian continent. Okay, and it's a very big thing for India to have such a huge telescope. I hope now I will tell you. With this, we complete this lecture 1 of this chapter. I will explain you something about what you have learned now. You have learned that I can show you like a chart only. First, we learned about optical telescope. Then we learned that optical telescopes are two types. First is, you can say, refracting telescope, refracting. Okay, refracting. And then second type is reflecting, reflecting. So then we learned about some two types of reflecting telescopes, that were Newtonian telescope and Cassegrain telescope. Now we will learn about different types of telescopes like radio telescope, X-ray telescope in the next lecture of this video. Thanks for watching. If you like my video, then please share this video and also subscribe to my channel.